So I went keto again. 3 days was all I was willing to commit. Tried it out and I did it as a vegan. I didn't really do it for weight loss, but I know most people get on keto for weight loss purposes. What is keto? For those who do not know what keto is a very high fat diet with moderate protein and little to no carbohydrates. Keto is really strict to do just on a regular diet, but like a special diet like meat, like vegan or plant-based diets, it's even more restrictive. Ketogenic diet macro breakdown is 75% fat, 20% protein, and 5% carbohydrates. And those carbohydrates are just pretty much net carbs. Net carbs are your total carbohydrates minus fiber and sugar alcohols because your body does not absorb them. Yeah, and sometimes the macro unit could sway. It could be like 70% fat, 25% protein, and 5% carbohydrates. But just as long as you're under 20 grams or less net carbs, then you're good. So that's pretty much how I built my diet. I used an app called Chronometer. Here we go. So starting with breakfast. Okay, so I'm going to make a smoothie for breakfast. I'm going to add 2 cups of unsweetened coconut milk, 2 scoops of my Women's Best Vegan Vanilla Protein Powder, 3 tablespoons of walnuts, and a handful of spinach. And then I'm going to add about 4 to 6 ounces of water, spring water to be exact, and a dash of cinnamon. And I'm just going to blend that up. I used a Vitamix to blend my smoothie. So my breakfast smoothie ended up being about 220 calories, 22 grams of protein, 5 grams of net carbs, and almost 11 grams of fat. All right, off to lunch. I'm going to be using this organic super firm tofu. It's nice and tough. I'm going to saute that in some extra virgin olive oil and garlic powder, roasted ground cumin, and smoked paprika. Did not strain my tofu. I just cut it up in pieces, heated up the oil, added the spices, and sauteed until it was like a crispy brown color. I'm going to be eating asparagus with this meal, and I'm going to saute it in coconut oil and then add some nutritional yeast. So I'm going to add the nutritional yeast at the end of sauteing my asparagus just to give it a bit of flavor. And lastly, I'm going to add half an avocado, and that's going to complete my meal. Okay, so my lunch ended up being 448 calories, 18 grams of protein, 7 grams of carbs, and about 37 grams of fat. Okay, so for dinner, I'm going to be sauteing French green beans in avocado oil, and I'm going to top it off with some nutritional yeast as well. I prepared my green beans just the same as I did the asparagus. I waited to add the nutritional yeast at the end, and I'm going to eat some tofu from the batch that I cooked earlier along with the green beans. And dinner was about 338 calories, about 16 grams of protein, 5 grams of net carbs, and 25.8 grams of fat. Over the course of the day, I ended up taking in 1,104 calories. My total protein intake for the day was 58.5 grams. My net carbs were 17.6 grams, and my total fat for the day ended up being 83 grams. My macro unit breakdown ended up being 20.7% protein, 14.7% carbs, which is supposed to be 5%, but I just felt like it was just impossible. I mean, I was still under the 20 grams of carbs, so I just was like, whatever. And then my total macro unit for fats were 64.6%. All right, would I do keto again? Maybe here and there whenever I want to shock my body, or if I feel like I'm holding on to too many carbohydrates, my body's in a surplus. It's nice to just switch things up, but to do it long term down the road, no, I would not do that. I did experience some hormonal changes. So the first time around I did it, when I did it back in September, I did notice like menstrual bleeding. I don't know, it was just weird. But I'm on my cycle right now, so I don't know any difference. But yeah, so would I do it again? Sure, I'm open to it. Short term, not long term. But I wanted to try it out. I wanted to see what all the hype was about. Okay guys, so here are my before and after body shots. I know 3 days is not nearly enough time in order to see a difference. I didn't do this for weight loss. I just did it because I wanted to try out the ketogenic diet as a vegan. And to add on, I am on my menstrual cycle, and if I tried to do this as a weight loss challenge, it would have just been completely inaccurate because I hold on to water like crazy while I'm on my cycle, especially during the beginning. Yeah, anyways, so I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I do not know how much I weigh. I did not do any measurements over this course of the experiment because it was only 3 days. Even if I tried to weigh myself at the ending, it would have just been so inaccurate because I'm on my cycle right now and I'm holding on to water like crazy. That is my full day of eating. I'll see you next video. Love you.